I think when people try to hyper control things or micromanage, they've been caught off guard too many times. This is not psychological advice or medical advice. Go see a mental health counselor, professional, etc. These are just my observations. Hi, I'm Ella, I'm a metaphysician and spiritual teacher, but we're going to dig into. I have a mind that just works. I'm just always observing psychological type things. This is what I have found with this and OCD type behavior. It is an avoidance behavior. When someone has OCD and their behaviors start to crop up like crazy, they're micromanaging, hyper controlling, even other people, but they hyper clean, all these things, organizing different behaviors, or even, different OCD behaviors like excessive hand washing or checking windows and doors multiple times. These behaviors, to me, just my opinion, okay? These behaviors to me you are avoiding something else that you don't want to think about. There's a fear just beyond these behaviors that your mind goes into self-preservation and you start to control what you can around you because you've been caught off guard too many times as a kid, as a young adult, even into adulthood, even whenever. It could be something ongoing because there's a lot of stuff going on and has been the last several years where people have been caught off guard too many times. There may be some micromanaging that goes on or excessive worrying, things like that. It feels to me like we're trying to prepare in advance for everything, especially people with OCDs. They try to prepare for everything in advance so they're not caught off guard anymore, which always prepare. It's good to be prepared. And if you can prepare for all the things, pretty much, I think that's important. I think the number one thing you have to prepare, though, is your brain. The reason why I say that, and this leads into relationships where people are overly concerned about people cheating or deceiving them, or, if that's the case, it's up to people. It's free will, but that there are some non-negotiables, right? And that tends to be one of them. Like if they're going to, anyway, I'm not going to trail too far down that road, but listen, people who I find that if they're checking their partner's phones incessantly or they're always fearing that to me always says they don't believe they could emotionally handle something that would go on, like the loss of, a partner leaving or something going on. And the OCDs, things like that. That tells me they don't feel capable of handling whatever could go on in their life, like unexpected, especially in the relationship department. That is a direct signal to me that, for example, I wouldn't be able to handle losing this person. So I'm going to grip. You know that just like if you chase a dog, it's going to run. You chase anything, it's going to run. We don't chase, we attract. And we carry the belief that whatever is meant for you and right for you is going to stick. Because anything that isn't right for you, it just isn't going to stick. That's how it works. My thing is, side note with relationships, if I have to wonder, I'm out. I had shit to do. And honestly, if having a healthy partner, your partner wouldn't leave you to wonder and worry. And what am I doing now? No, I'm all set. I got things going on. I'd rather be doing. Anywho, I digress. So in the case of OCDs, it's always an avoidance behavior to me, just my opinion. It's always there's something on the other side of that they don't want to face. It could be something as simple as they got to go somewhere next week and there's a bridge on the way there and they don't like bridges. Don't take the bridge or don't do the thing. I'm all for pushing yourself past your comfort zone. That's not, we're going to get to that. My thing is, I'd rather follow my peace. If something is so ridiculous that I get an OCD, go nuts and worry and, hyper control and go into these self-preservation, you know what? It ain't worth it. If it costs you your peace, it's too fucking expensive. So if people get into these OCD behaviors, or you find yourself getting into OCD behaviors, trying to hyper micromanage, control, stop yourself and go, okay, I'm a big meditation person, okay? And I don't mean formal, sit in the lotus position, I'm all contorted like a fucking pretzel. That's not what I mean some introspection, like journaling, get into a nice chilled out state, some music, have a little snack, journal out. What am I afraid of? Face it, stare right at it from a safe place where you feel good and safe, like comfortable clothes. That's why I say kind of set the scene when you do this. So you feel safe. Okay, I am safe. So what's going on? What's the fear, right? What am I afraid of? And then look at it. Be honest with it. Look, maybe you don't want to do said thing. don't fucking do it. Follow your peace. But that's for everybody to gauge. Now, this, just understand what it is so you know how to handle it. Okay. And then decide what you want to do with it once you know what the actual fear is. Now you know what you're dealing with. Pushing outside of your comfort zone is something different. Okay. You may have some fears, like when I started on here and I had to make videos all of a sudden every day and had to, I was coming out of debilitating Lyme disease. I was exhausted and I only had a certain fraction of time that I had energy before I had to lay down again. So what I would do, like there were some days before lives, I used to do lives. For like 3 years, I did lives on here. I used to cry sometimes before doing lives. I used to cry sometimes before videos, but I knew I had to get a video out because otherwise the algorithm, yada, yada. So there are times where you have to force that stuff. Plus having an income, like I rescue animals and single mom and yada, yada with that, you got to have some money coming in. Okay. So you got to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. That's different. Okay. That's something I knew I wanted on the other side. I love to talk. Obviously, I love people. I love you guys. This is a very comfortable thing for me, but I had to get past that initial, like, I see it as just there's two parts of you. There's your higher self and there's your physical self. Your physical self is not going to want to do some uncomfortable shit. Okay. But your higher self is going, kind of nudging you, going, this is good for you. You love this. You enjoy this. You got to get past this. Like this physical, I don't want to. And let me tell you, she will pitch a bitch fit, like, and she has, and I know that my higher self is aware of that and will say, okay, get it out, girl. Get it out because you're doing it. Like the gym, I don't like to jog. Okay. I don't think running is particularly great for you, but your joints and that. But even jogging, I don't particularly love. I'm raging ADHD, and to be on a treadmill for 30 minutes is like, oh my. But on the other side of that, stamina, endurance, strength, cardio. So she pitches a bitch fit when she has to get on the treadmill. But after she's been on it for like 5-10 minutes, I know it sounds fucking crazy, but she's been on it 5-10 minutes, she starts to feel really good. So this, if you understand yourself and how you work, and that it's very different than I'm going to have all these OCDs because there's a deep-seated fear. Don't do the thing. Maybe your intuition is saying, don't do the thing. I don't like it. Or find a way to do whatever it is that makes you feel more comfortable, makes you feel more safe. Or maybe you slow down. Maybe you take a different route. Maybe you do it a different day. Maybe you don't do it on that day. Whatever it is, you got to understand yourself, know yourself, work with yourself, embrace what you can control, and let go of things that don't bring you peace. I'm all for doing brave things because I feel like that's where confidence comes from. And courage comes from. You can't have courage and confidence if you don't push outside your comfort zone. But if you have this intuitive, you have this upset, this unsafe, whatever, you need to address that, okay? Instead of forcing yourself to do said thing. It's very different to push past your comfort zone to do, safe things that are going to make you feel good, as opposed to really going outside your comfort zone where you're like terrified and go into hyper OCD type activity. So you can protect yourself from thinking about the thing. If it's that awful, is it worth it? I don't know. I'll leave you with that. Just my thoughts. See you in the next one.